other people are more quiet, but that doesn't mean you can't be tough. It really doesn't define what that tough character really is. You know, today I was just like sitting and thinking, what am I going to do tonight? And I'm going through YouTube, and this video comes up with this man singing, "You gotta be tough to grow old." And it was old blues. I don't even remember who did it. I sent it to you. I don't even remember. And I said to myself, you know, that is such an important concept for people to understand, because growing old, we all want to, but there's a lot that goes along with it. And as you grow older and you achieve a high age, and I know this from my old aunts and my grandparents, they always said to me, you know, the hardest part about growing old is that you lose your friends, you lose your family, you lose so many people that you love, and you're left all alone. You don't have your root system, your groundwork, the people that bring you joy and that you could talk to and confide in. And also you get sicker. I mean, really, the physical body eventually starts to give out, and you get all those aches and pains. And like my mother used to say, these golden years are not so golden. They're not what they've cracked up to be. Yeah, people have heart attacks and stiff joints and cancers and God knows what. So it takes a tough spirit to grow old. But as I'm thinking about this, I'm thinking to myself, in the past 6, 8 years, we've all been pretty much forced to get old. I mean, living in the Biden regime and in the years of the pandemic, we have been so beaten up by evil politicians, the world being locked down. We've watched people shrink with fear of a pandemic, and that allowed the government to inject poison into their bodies. We've experienced a bloated medical and pharmaceutical empire take hold of the populations of the world. If that realization doesn't grow you up, I don't know what does. I mean, we've gone from anger, bitterness, fear, anger, bitterness, like what else? I mean, I think at this point, it's just recognizing that we're almost in a spiritual war with ourselves. It's like, you know, we know what we've just been through. We are the few. I wish I knew the numbers. I wish to God I knew the real numbers of people that stood back and said, nah, I'm not falling for this. I'm not taking the vaccine. I'm not getting on the train to Auschwitz. I'm just not doing this. We're the tough ones, whether we think we are or not. We are the fighters, the true spiritual fighters, because we know the Constitution and we know God's laws. Those are the two things you need to stand your ground and know that something is just wrong and you're not going to do it. That's what toughness is. Or you are going to do it because it's the right thing to do. i.e., what we're hearing in the news in the past week. Trump started a war. Oh my God, we're in a war. He swore he wasn't going to do this to us. He's actually preventing a nuclear war. Okay, I think you would rather have a nuclear bomb dropped on you so that we could wait for this unfriendly Congress to give us permission to bomb the hell out of the people who are going to bomb the hell out of us first. You think he's tough?
Well, I would even say this, right? Leaving my politics aside, right? If you, right? I mean, in this country of ours, right? We have castle doctrine. We got self-defense doctrine, right? And along with that self-defense, I want people to understand this, right? And this might strike at the heart of the weak, but it's something that group of people need to hear, right? You can say no new wars. You can say no forever wars, right?
Yeah.
But let's also do understand, right? On the individual liberty level, right? You have a right to self-defense. You also have the right to defend someone that's defenseless.
Exactly.
You as a human being, as a steward of liberty, right? As a steward of freedom, right? We shouldn't sit on our high horse and say, oh, no new wars or no new this. Call it a war if we want to, right? The fact of the matter is you have a bunch of defenseless people that are still being mowed down in the streets, either by bullet or by vehicle. We, as the United States, again, we have a moral obligation. We have a moral obligation to come to the defense of the defenseless.
Mm-hmm.
This is something, again, that has been grinded into our founding. I mean, should we remind people about the Barbary pirates and the Barbary slave trade? How we went into defense of those people to free them, right? So I ask a lot of people that are taking this anti-war stance, right? And I want to appeal to them, get them to understand, right? We are here to defend. Justice works when we defend the innocent. If we sit back like we did in 1930s, and again, I brought this up before, Ms. Val, you've heard me say it before, and we sat back, FDR sat back and still continued to allow Jews to be executed and not step in. He had a moral obligation to step in at that point. While he's sitting in his wheelchair screaming about freedom and liberty.
Right.
And all that stuff. You had a moral obligation and he balked on it. But one thing President Trump didn't do was balk on this. He said, remember what he said the first time? Oh, you're killing your people in the streets. Hold on, this ain't working for us. This is not working for us. So we're going to come to the table and talk. Oh, you don't want to talk? Okay. And what he told the Persian people? Help's on the way.
F-A-F-O, right.
Yep, help's on the way, and help has shown up, and help is showing its ass right now. So I need people to pipe down with this no new war bullshit.
It's bullshit. We are not declaring war. You know, I know something happened in Australia. Australia didn't want to take. Oh, see, I don't really know the story, but it just clicked into my head in terms of doing the moral right thing. Trump is allowing people to come here to safety from Australia. I'm sorry, I don't have the story in my head, and I don't recall what it was because it popped in and popped out today. But something happened between Australia and us.
Are you talking about the Iranian football team? How some of the players got asylum in Australia?
Maybe. Yes. So, you know, this is what's happening all over the world right now. I mean, if we look at this 47-year, you know, horror that's happened to the women and children, not only the women, I mean, Iran was busted down, broke into, and taken over by a hostile, crazy, lunatic government. if you want to call it a government, terrorists. And these people have been unable to save themselves for all sorts of reasons. Obviously, underground, things were going on because people escaped. They came here to warn us, just like CCP has had people come here to warn us about what's been going down with the Chinese, doing all kinds of awful things here in our country. Birthright citizenship comes to mind, which I believe is coming up real soon. They've been giving birth to babies here and then bringing them back to China and raising them to be little communist spies, CCP operatives, come here and do what they will to endanger our country. So, we're getting tough. We're getting old before our time, if you ask me. God, I wish we could play that video that I saw today. It was very telling about what it's like to be old but be tough at the same time, and working through all your personal aches and pains and fears and everything you've been through in life. It was just a great bluesy story and song. What was it called? It was called "You Gotta Be Tough to Grow Old," and anybody could look that up on YouTube because it just popped up for me. But if you think about what has taken place in the last few days, Trump threatens the Iranian people in with the Navy ships in the Hormuz ocean there, sea, part of the river, whatever it is. It looks like a river going into the ports. I'm tired. And he tells them, you better not have missiles there to blow up the boats. And everybody's scared to go in there now from all over. They're just scared, rightfully so. And he gave them a chance to eliminate all these mine boats, these missile mine boats. And they didn't do it. So he blew 10 of them up today. 10 mine laying boats. He blew them up. It's like when you raise a child and you say, don't do that. And they look at you and they go back and do it. And you say, okay, I'm counting to 3. 1, 2, 3. Now you're punished. Now you're going to get it. The black strap or the brown strap. Boom. Well, that's what he's doing here. He is treating the world like the little messed up, spoiled, evil children they are. They're evil. How do these liberal maniacs in the media think we are supposed to deal with? We should send social workers to talk to the Khomeinis over in Iran as they're building nuclear bombs. Let's send the little white excuse me for the word white, because Mandami is blaming white supremacy on the fact that something happened at Gracie Mansion. Oh my God. Mm-hmm. The little Muslims freaking out now. His wife who cheered October 7th. It was the greatest festival of all time. I mean, look at this. This isn't even something that needs to be discussed anymore. I don't care what the media says. I don't care what people are saying. It's all fine.
It needs to be discussed. Okay. The fact, right? There's a couple things. And let's go back to New York a second. Let's go back right to the other day. Right? We all know what happened the other day in New York City. Where the anti-Muslim protesters, Jack Lang and all those people, was in front of Gracie Mansion with that pig, right? We know, right? Yeah. Now, we have to think about the experience of those people that were there, right? And the irony of this moment, right? You had a guy that is well hated by a lot of people, left, right, center, up, upside down, and diagonal, right?
Right.
Now, again, I would defend that man's right to his speech, whole 9 yards, 100%, right? Regardless of what it is, because again, people need to understand, speech you don't like is what needs to be protected.
Exactly.
Right? Now, these two idiots out of Pennsylvania running and jumping over this liberal commentator throwing an IED at the police. Thank God the thing didn't detonate.
I know.
But that moment, that experience in that moment, right? And I don't want to bring any Debbie Downer shit in here, but even when it's in a liberal's face or a progressive's face at what happened, they will still say, no, we still don't need to let them in the country. No, this guy could have killed you with that IED. You were that close. But
They get it?
No, they don't get it. But that's the experience of that day for those people,
That's right.
pro or against. And I guarantee you, only one group of people going to even raise the issue even further, while the other cower back. Because one guy didn't know what happened. Like, what's going on? Some guy just put his hand on my shoulder and chunked something. Well, first of all, they were attacking your protection.
Mm-hmm.
The people you want to defund, they were attacking. They probably won't get it. And then you got a mayor, right, that echoes
Yeah.
the demoralization of NYPD.
Yes.
At the same, oh no, it's okay, just throw bombs at them. Now I'm gonna say this: you're gonna try to keep throwing this shit at people. I don't care if it's a bottle of water. You're going to trigger one of these police officers to put a bullet hole in you. That's going to be the end of. That's going to be the end of your life experience.
That's correct. He's in as much danger as Trump is at this point.
Yeah, these people have shown you, right? And here's the thing, right? My folks that were downrange, you're gonna understand. You will understand more than anybody what I'm about to say. These people, right? And even people you know that's been downrange. You can verify this story with them. These people did the same thing to them on a sand pile. Walking through Kabul, coming off of base at Bagram, all these different places. These people were setting up IEDs on the side of the road or throwing them at them.
That's right.
And now they've come to the United States to do the same thing.
That's right.
I want people to understand this, right? Because we don't win wars when they're unconventional. And this is the problem we have with our military. Nothing bad against them, but you name us a conflict we've ever been in where it's been unconventional warfare that we actually won. I mean, this is on record, right?
We're not going to win this one.
The only way we win this one, it was when the people do it.
That's right.
The people
That's
have to
right.
stand up and do it because, again, the federal government has no jurisdiction. Technically, shouldn't have any against society, but they're supposed to stop domestic violence. I don't have confidence. And nothing against my U.S. military members. I don't have confidence. I have more confidence in the people that live in the streets every day to clean that shit up before military comes in and do it.
That's always been the case.
Mm-hmm.
That's the case. You know, today I read this, and I don't know if anybody else read it. It was in the American Thinker, and the title was "The Impact of Weak Men on National Stability."
Mm.
And it really bites the bullet. It says the greatest threats to a nation are not always those in the headlines. External dangers like nuclear war, economic collapse, and geopolitical conflict are real. But the more serious threat comes from within, the gradual decline of the men who uphold civilization.
Yep.
Yeah. So, this weak men, we could really get into that conversation, because when you look at the Biden regime and the open floodgates of the gay men, and now they're allowed to be in the military, and we've got MASH in the military with dresses and skirts on, and very weak characters who are mentally confused, and the sight for sore eyes, especially for us women. I'll be honest with you, as a woman, I looked at this and said, oh my God, who is ever going to save us from this, from anything happening, actually, not even from anything that I could define? How are we protected by a military that is so depleted, and then they're giving them these shots, and they're feeding them garbage, and I mean, the whole thing was just like, we're going to lose whatever war comes our way with this going on. And I think every woman has really felt fear in this regard, knowing that we better get trained like the Israeli women. We better get trained with these guns. And i.e., look around, women probably have bought as many guns in the past few years as men have, because we realize we're going to really have to take responsibility for ourselves, for our families, for whoever comes our way in whatever situation we're in. There's just no other way to, and I can honestly say, my mother, my grandmother, they never thought these thoughts. They always knew that the men and the military were absolutely going to protect them. They had the luxury of feeling protected. We don't. Ladies, we do not have that luxury anymore. And I'm just putting that out there. So I don't care if you carry a cane with a knife buried in it. I don't care if you walk around with a burner or a spray or anything. You have got to be ready to spray that shit in someone's face.
I recommend burner.
I think burners are great. I think they're great. So as I'm just going to read on through this briefly, because it was such an excellent article. I don't know if a woman or a man wrote it. Christian. I'm assuming it's a man that wrote this. When men lose their courage, conviction, and purpose, a nation's decay begins. But even amid decline, hope persists. Across the country, young men are reviving faith, strength, and duty. That's very good to hear. The younger generation is starting. Thank you, Charlie Kirk. Thank you to whoever has been taking the bull by the horn and influencing our young people to come back to the churches, the synagogues, to God. I guess even the Muslims are doing this, but it's just not what our country was founded on. Even though they're trying to disrupt the school systems, they want to teach their own history. They are attacking our country. I honor them for believing in God, but they've got to get the fuck out of here and go back to their country and believe in God. Just get out of our country. This has to be stopped in the roots of absolute mania going on in Texas right now. But that's up to everybody else to look up and see what's happening there. One of the women came on today who runs all the school boards in Texas. So she's a big honcha there. And she said that they are emboldened. They walk into the courts of the school systems with their demands of completely changing our history books, completely indoctrinating all the children that come into the school system into their Islamic beliefs and their ideology, and this is totally unacceptable. They've got to get out of our country. This is not about changing laws to be nice, to be, good liberals and compassionate. they got to get out. They can't do this here. That's the end of that story. I have no tolerance for this. People, I think, get all wrapped up in trying to make it okay for them to kind of do their thing and we'll do our thing. That's not what their operation is about. They want to take over. This is not what you think it is. I guess the Christians and the Jews and the Americans, even the spirit of Texas, they got some hard lessons to learn. Yes, they do.
Mm-hmm.
So now, weak men, they lack inner strength. They react with emotion, not conviction, with fear, not courage. This is a big one. They avoid conflict, peace at any cost, and seek approval over honor. Confrontation is avoided because it demands courage, with timidity, disorder, and decay that follows. A weak man hopes danger passes, trades beliefs for approval, and folds instead of standing firm. Does that sound like Congress to you?
No.
What does it sound like?
Congress.
Okay. So a strong man is the opposite. He feels fear, but he does not obey it. Think about that.
Right.
Yeah, I'm scared, but nah, this is not happening. He has emotions, but they don't rule him. His life is anchored in a belief system, one he will protect, honor, and act upon even when it costs him. Strong men are sometimes called warriors, not because they seek violence, but because they refuse to run from the battles that matter.
Mm-hmm.
These are the definitions of our greatest American men. The greatest generation, was that World War I, World War II? Both of them, I think.
It was both of them, yeah.
Yeah, the greatest generations of men, true men. They operated with God's assistance. They loved their families. They had the instinct not only to protect, but to confront. That's just like copper. Copper will fight anybody. So when we deal with the men, the feminized men, and you know what? There's too many men in our country right now who have been severely feminized. And as Royce White would say, they've been cucked. And I really, really, really have lived that in New York City. I've seen it. I even approved of it for a long time. It didn't faze me. It was like, oh, it's cool to be hanging out with all the gay guys and be kind of like neutral about it all. But it reached a point where I said, no, this is going too far. There's a difference between a biological male who is confused and feels naturally more feminized, because I do believe there are mistakes biologically. There are.
Mm-hmm.
It just is. Just like a miscarriage is a mistake. But a man that gets born feeling more like a woman, or vice versa, a woman that's born that feels more like a man, look, it happens, and at some level you have to figure out how to be in that society. You have to figure out how to get to where you need to be and just be human. Just be a caring, loving person, and you don't have to be flaming. You don't have to make it impossible. You have to be militant. So that's where I started to draw the line for myself. I just said I kind of had enough, So being comfortable is also a part of how things have gone astray. Feminism, Well, in feminism, do you think women got stronger and men got weaker?
No, I think honestly, I think women got weaker.
You think women got weaker?
Yes, I do, and I say that because women were forced out of their natural position and natural order.
Yes,
Right?
I agree.
They had to take on things that should not have been on their shoulders. Hence,
I agree.
right, adding stress to their body. Right? I think honestly, and some women are probably gonna say I'm very bigoted for saying this, but I'm keeping it I'm keeping it 100% real. Let's think about, right, the amount of miscarriages that happen now compared to when we didn't have all this research and all these different things. I want people to sit back and think about that a minute, right? Right? The stress, the undue stress of life on a woman's body has been detrimental to her. I mean, hell, we got women perimenopausal in their 30s because of
Yep.
stress.
Yep.
Right. So, I mean, and again, you know me, Miss Val. I'm not the type of guy to say, oh, women need to stay in the kitchen. But my God, putting them in the workforce added more stress on them. Because now, right, y'all women folk got to worry, oh, I got to feed the kids when I get home. I got to do this when I get home. Then I still got to take care of him when I get home. The unnecessary stress the government put on women in the name of female liberation or feminism ruined women as a whole in that context. I really, really truthfully believe that from everything I hear, and historically and biologically I'm hearing it. That's the only conclusion I can come to.
Well, think about what these super feminized women were doing to society in like the 60s and 70s and 80s. Betty Friedan, the whole women's movement, Ms. Magazine, they successfully convinced women that they could do it all.
Yeah.
And they had to do it all. And part of it was inflation too. They made it harder and harder for people to afford one working person. There was a lot that went into it. And the CCP convinced us that we needed to buy, have more. They
Right.
taught us to be the super consumers so that you couldn't even keep your children happy if you didn't buy them $100 pairs of sneakers. And so it just sort of all hit us in two decades. It just came at us through the movies, the media. We had to be glamorous. We had to have these homes. We had to and everything had to be clean and perfect at the same time that you were working. And then you also had to do the old-fashioned stuff like make dinners for your whole family and celebrate the holidays. And meanwhile, you had to go to work and your stomach was killing you and the food chain was getting more and more toxic. I mean, really, think about all this. We've all aged. And the people who get through all of this are tough.
Yeah. But tough in what way? But tough in what way, though, right? Because I have to bring this delineation into this too, though, right? And I have to separate. I have to separate the colors a second, because there's a very distinct point I need to make here, right? You don't. And when we talk about this feminist movement, right? Especially this third wave feminism, right? Or whatever they call it, second wave, third wave feminism, right? When we separate between white women and black women in this instance, right? The white women are still taught to still be submissive to their husbands. I want y'all to think about this. And now the black women, they are taught to be independent and strong and don't need a man.
Right. Well,
right?
I think both colors have successfully been taught that to a great extent.
To an extent, right? But from my interactions on social media and and abroad and such, I only hear it out of one faction of people.
Okay.
Right? I only hear it out of them. I don't need no man to do this. I don't need. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. You saying it and you have children? Like stop.
Yeah.
Y'all gotta stop this, right? And it's, again, it's created this independent context, and then guess what else it sets up? Just like you just said before. Watch this, right? Now you have these boys becoming femboys.
Yep.
Right? They're becoming femboys, FEMBOY, right? They're not going to join the military
No.
because they've been taught military bad, right? Police bad, right? They've been taught this. So now you have a whole community of people that is anti-police, anti-military, right? But they can go on these street corners because they're strong, independent mama,
Yeah.
right? Has to work 3 jobs, and they're in the streets with gangsters. What you think's going to happen? That child's going to end up in prison, right? That child is going to be
And a drug addict.
right. Now, I look at my white counterparts. I don't see that prevalently. Like, a lot of times, people get their shit straight. Like, nah, you can't be out here in these streets doing all this, that, and the third. Now, don't get me wrong. There's white trash out there. I get that, right?
Yeah.
But again, from my focal point and the things I have heard, the things I have read, white women at large are still taught to be submissive to their men. Not this strong, independent, all this banging the drum feminism shit. It's the black women that are carrying this shit on.
You know, Rod, I just have to interject one thing.
Yeah,
here.
go ahead.
And it is a reality check.
Mm-hmm.
I think black women or white women, should the electricity ever go out, should there be a complete shutdown of all the conveniences that everybody lives with, the women would very quickly need a man.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, within 3 days, they would be begging a man to do anything for them to please help them.
Right.
You see, I think back in the day when people had to pump water and light a fire and chop down trees and struggle to survive, the man and the woman each had their jobs, and
Right.
that became the unit of the family and the respect and the need for each other. They didn't have to be in love, but there was a relationship that was a working relationship. Today, people are so accustomed to pressing a button to get food, running to the market, the TV, the entertainment, the blah, 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 blah. Yeah, you can live on your own very easily like that. But when the lights go out, you are going to beg and be submissive to any man you need to be.
That's right.
And I'm saying that
That's right.
to any woman that thinks she can live alone. No, you can't. No, you cannot. You'll never survive.
No, some things you just can't. There's some things that you just can't. There are some things you just cannot. Right.
And that's why people like to live closer together so they can help each other.
That part. Yep. That whole part. I mean, even now, like where I live at, right? I mean, granted, my nearest neighbor is probably quarter mile to a half mile, right? In either direction, and it's not infrequent for me. If I'm like going up to the store or something, whatever, I'll stop by the lady's houses down the road and say, hey, you need anything? I'm going up to Winn-Dixie. You need anything from up there? Right? It's nothing for me to do that. You know what I'm saying? Because I know they could use the help. I know they're living alone. Their husbands passed away, whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's like, I go do things like that. Right. And we live far apart per se, right? In context. Right. But we don't even have men doing that because feminism says you don't need to be associating with other women in any type of way. I don't care how old they are. This is this fourth wave feminism talking. You can't be my man, right? You can go on Facebook right now and just type in. You can type in, for example, man picks up lady's purse, and then the girlfriend drops the purse and makes him pick it up because he picked up that purse. That girl dropped her purse. He picked it up for her. Said, "Hey, here you go. Here's your purse." The girl gets mad because he picked up her purse, or he held the door for these women. And she felt entitled. Oh, ain't you hold the door for me? Why you hold the door for? He's being a gentleman, and men are being emasculated. I saw the emasculation in the chat, right? Just a little bit ago. I think it was Michelle that said it, right? This emasculation on top of these men being femboys is destroying the natural order of our civilization.
Absolutely. Now, I said to my daughter one day, all these men in women's sports, especially, it's insulting to women. And she was shocked that I said that. Like, what? You know, deer in headlights. I said, my God, they're stealing sports from the women. You know, it's so much bigger than that they're physically stronger.
Right.
It's a psychological issue. It's a spiritual issue. They're stealing. Oh, you know, if they can't win in men's sports, isn't it just easy to go into women's sports? And yeah, you could step on a pile of ants, but could you kill someone who's in your face with a gun? It's a little bit different to stomp on an anthill.
Right.
Well.
You're exactly right.
Yep. So, you know, it is tough to grow old. And sometimes we grow old before our times because we're forced to. But, you know, either you want to get there or you don't.
Right.
It's just tough. This is Earth school. I say that to everybody.
Earth school,
it's not fair. It's not easy. We're in Earth school.
Yep.
We're in these tents. We're in these bodies that are rented tents. And then when we move on past the veil, we are somewhere home.
Right.
We're somewhere heavenly and home.
Yep.
This is just a part-time job here. We've got some lessons to learn. You expect this to be easy and simple? Not so much.
No, because again, to your point, right? In the title of the show, you got to be tough to get old. I mean, look, some of us had to get old at 13.
I'm telling you.
Right? Some of us had to act as adults at 14.
That's
right. Become adults at 14 by force.
That's right.
Right? I mean, some of us, you know, some of us picked tobacco in the fields to help bring home money in the house. Some of us actually picked our own cotton in the back 40, right, to bring money home. Picked watermelon that we grew in the backyard. Yeah, I'm talking about me, right?
Yeah.
14 years old, running tractors to bring up. You had to be. I had to be an adult at 14, right?
And by the other example is some people shrink away and get eaten up by that same force. They just shrink back and give up.
Yep.
And say, I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to stay beaten up my whole life. That's why it's tough.
The victim mentality.
To grow old. Exactly. And we got plenty of that too.
Yes. That's right. So
the only other thing that I was going to bring up tonight, and I'll be quick about this.
Yeah, go ahead. We got a couple minutes left.
Okay. I've been looking at the United Kingdom recently because I see that coming from the roots that we've all come from, at least our law that we have in this country, our allies of Great Britain, England, London, this guy Starmer, he's been quite a character in the news lately, and especially in his dealings with President Trump. And he's been kind of like, he's been put in his place. And I think it's very interesting if you look at what a weak man does operating a country. like England. You know, he's been just, they let in all the Muslims and now they're terrified of them and they can't stand up to them. And it's becoming like a moment too late. So instead, he tries to take out his big man toughness on Donald Trump. And he said, no, we're not going to get involved in your stuff with Iran. You can't use any of the islands, and we're not going to provide you with anything. And then all of a sudden, as things start to look like we're getting somewhere, we're winning, all right, we'll send you some aircraft. And gee, now that you're winning, it's just like, okay, so Donald Trump wrote a Truth Social that I just wanted to flip in here. It's a short one. He says, the United Kingdom, our once great ally, maybe the greatest of them all, is finally giving serious thought to sending 2 aircraft carriers to the Middle East. That's okay. Prime Minister Starmer, we don't need them any longer, but we will remember. We don't need people that join wars after we've already won. President Donald J. Trump.
Ha 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 ha. Service with a smile.
I just love it. I mean, you know, every day's hard. Some days don't look so good, and some days are hilarious, and you just have to stay tough.
Ain't that the truth? Ain't that the truth?
Keep going. Yep. So, you know, the answer is not socialism.
No, the answer will always be individual liberty and freedom from the state. That will always be the answer. There's no other way,
Always.
right? Because man has the ability to govern themselves. And to those people that don't know how to govern themselves, well, guess what? You're going to learn real quick.
That's right. You're not conquering us.
Yeah.
We're going to conquer your ass.
Yeah. Survival of the
now.
fittest. Yeah. Survival of the fittest. You better come with it. If
That's right.
You ain't ready. You might as well just go and get your waders out. Get your waders out. Because you're gonna be waist deep in shit. I'm just saying. Get them out. Yeah. Ms. Val, thank you as always.
You're welcome.
And everybody that tuned in. I thank y'all too for pulling up. Again, look for Ninth Amendment Project site to launch sometime this week. And all that good stuff, and a bunch of other things that I'm trying to get into focus here. So, with that being said, I love y'all, appreciate y'all. Remember, love your neighbors, love your family, but ultimately, love yourself. Peace and love, everybody.